More than 30 people have been injured, 2 of them seriously, in what's suspected to have been a gas explosion on the Wirral.
2 people are seriously injured after a number of buildings collapsed in a suspected gas explosion on the Wirral. Emergency services were called to New Ferry near Birkenhead on Saturday night.
Ever night, the worst country ever. And the people what was that? Liked it because of the idea and it's been back.
Drone footage from the morning after captured the true nature of the devastation on the Wirral. Wirral's council was left to deal with the bill left behind by the explosion. Central government provided no financial aid for the hundreds of local residents and business owners affected by the blast.
But where's central government? They've got the entire resources of the United Kingdom Treasury at their disposal, and they're sort of saying, on you go, Wirral, you know, you've got this. Well, I don't think that's fair at all.
It was Mother's Day the next day, and I love my mum.
No one's been up to help us at all. No input, no financial help, absolutely nothing. It's absolutely disgusting the way we've been left and treated.
It was a huge explosion for New Ferry. It's a disaster zone and they've done absolutely nothing for the people of New Ferry.
As I say, it's been a long year for these people and some of them still don't see no hope.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I think the government would like it to become the forgotten disaster, and it's for us to ensure that it doesn't.
Christopher Lee Power has been living in temporary accommodation for over a year now. His property was just across the road from the blast site.
So this is the kitchen. This is where we had many fond memories. You can see the ceiling. That had to come down because of the blast. But this is the living room. Just thinking back now, it was a horrific night. The sofa was here, I was sitting down, my wife was at her sister's, my son was out. It was just me and the cat. It was 9:15. And suddenly, there was a huge bang. And with it, all these windows came out. And it was frightening, and initially, I thought it was a bomb.
Over a year on, Chris and his neighbours' homes lay dormant, still havocked by the explosion last March. However, it's not just the physical damage hampering the people of New Ferry, it's the mental damage.
I have flashbacks, which are horrible for me because sometimes I'll go past a building and I will be terrified of it exploding again. And I think this is why I get so angry over the government, that they don't realise the impact it's had emotionally upon us as a community. And so many people are suffering, and for the cabinet ministers to come here and walk away and say no is just awful. But when we, 13 months ago, cried out to the government, it's very emotional for me. When I saw the devastation of that explosion, when I saw the children crying because they'd lost their dance school, when I saw how many families were displaced and traders who own family-run businesses out of their shops, and the government turned around and said no to us, it is so demoralizing to me and the community. I think it's not fair. I think just because we are in the north does not mean we shouldn't get help. People may debate with me and say, but Christopher, you know, surely your insurance companies will sort it out. No, because it's so vast, it's beyond the insurance companies. This affected hundreds of people. It affected families, traders. People are damaged, not only emotionally, but physically.
The explosion happened at 9:15. We left our shop around 9:05. Exactly where I was stood 10 minutes earlier, the whole shop front windows, door, all the glass, everything was exactly where I was stood 10 minutes earlier. My husband had gone and picked up a takeaway in Land's Chinese restaurant at 9 o'clock. Obviously 15 minutes later, that's where most people were injured. But yeah, there was a lot of damage in the shop, and we looked back when we were allowed back in the shop 2.5 weeks later to see how the damage, what the damage was in there. That looking at what would have been if we were in that shop at the time when it happened, it's quite shocking to think what could have happened. We just feel as though we've been left to hang out to dry, basically, that we've had no one up here to see the damage of what it's caused to homes, businesses, people's personal lives. No one's been up to help us at all. No input, no financial help, absolutely nothing. It's absolutely disgusting the way we've been left and treated.
Immediately after the disaster, a charity called New Beginnings was set up to help New Ferry residents following the explosion.
I had a house fire 13 years ago, so I knew what it was like for the people who'd lost everything. I was lucky in the explosion. I'd just lost the kitchen ceiling, and yeah, so I felt a need to go and help them, encourage them that there is a way out of it. It might take a little bit of time, but you will get out of it. I can't say they've done anything at all, to be honest. It's all been locally sourced support, which is we're all dumbfounded about. It's horrendous. I think when there's a disaster in any case, there should be something there to support them, and the fact that there isn't is it's horrendous. As I say, it's been a long year for these people, and some of them still don't see no hope.
New Ferry did in fact receive a visit from Northern Powerhouse Minister Jake Berry. However, in a letter addressed to Wirral Council leader Phil Davis, it read, "You say that no financial support has been received from the government in the 3 months since the explosion. This letter is the first formal request for financial support we have had from you. As you know, the government will provide financial support for emergency response costs that meet the thresholds of the Bellwyn scheme. However, the government rarely intervenes during the recovery phase of an emergency and has only done so to date when the scale and impact of the emergency is so great that it becomes a national incident. Recent examples of this were the extensive flooding in parts of northern England during winter 2015-16 and last month's fire at Grenville Tower. While I understand that recovering from the New Ferry explosion requires funding, for an incident of this size and impact, we would expect these costs to be covered using existing local resources."
I think the fact of the media and the government being by and large based in London, I think these things are just higher up on people's attention level, and that has a real difference, which is part of the reason why we need a lot more devolved powers.
I think the government's lack of support for me is incomprehensible, because when it first happened, a colleague of mine called Alison McGovern, who's the MP over in Wirral, stood up and at a PMQ asked the Prime Minister about what she'd do for the people of New Ferry. And the Prime Minister gave all the right answers, the right tone, right noises, and then nothing happened.
Of course it shouldn't need a fatality to have help from central government. It's very distressing for residents in New Ferry that other parts of our country have suffered significant disasters and have had immediate help from central government, and we haven't.
No, I think it's a north-south thing, because my understanding is that the government have intervened in other, if you like, disasters, incidents of this sort of magnitude in other areas.
When this sort of thing happens, people have spent years and years building up a business, and to have it obliterated overnight, wouldn't you be angry? And I'm angry, to be honest, on behalf of those people who were affected in an absolutely devastating way.
New Beginnings, they raised £20,000, so I matched that, and I thought if that's 40,000, the government might even top it up with 60,000 to say, here's £100,000 and you can start to do some things. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I think the government would like it to become the forgotten disaster, and it's for us to ensure that it doesn't.
Describe the government's involvement in one word. For me, I would say disgusting.
Shocking.
Non-existent.
shocking.
Poor.